4 minutes on this.
Now something very serious. This is it.
Hi, I'm Amelia and I'm taking part in Takeover Day.
So what do you think about Takeover Day then?
I think it's a great experience for young people to take over a professional's job for the day. It's given me so many insights into your job today.
I got involved because it was something different from what I normally do, and it's something unique. I experienced what a manager does for them and about budget cuts that the government are doing.
And because I thought it was a good opportunity to play a role of someone who is inspirational, as I say. I experienced the job role of how to become a social worker, what work goes into it, and that behind the doors of actual social worker, what actually rules and regulations you have to follow.
Right, well, I think you obviously got an insight into what university life is like, and also that it's a lot more relaxed than school.
I took over Sharon Packer's job, and it was at St Luke's Hospital. It was the radiography department, and I got to see loads of x-rays being carried out and also the ultrasounds. It was really, really interesting and I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And what did you want to get out of it?
I wanted to learn a bit more about radio and how it's broadcasted and how everything comes together.
I did it last year and I had like a great time doing it, so I thought I want to do it again and do something completely different. I'm interested in music and stuff, so I was like sort of music producer, radio. So
I took over Sue Roberts, Bradford, Royal Infirmary. I really wanted the experience, the work experience, and I'm interested in like midwifery and nursing and things like that. So, well, it helped me look at the health service in like I saw more than you usually see. You know, like I could see like the cogs that turn. You know, the big clogs that turn the whole.
Do you feel like Takeover Days helped you to feel listened to, like you had a voice?
Yeah, it does help because, like I said, it changes your ideas on what you used to think, and you think, actually, I was wrong. They actually do this and do that. Then, if I see it's not right, then I'll go back to my council and say, well, I did Takeover Day, and I don't think the way the big professional did this, I don't think it's the right way.
Yeah, you said that something to me earlier, that it was about finding out what these professionals were doing in their job, but also that it was making sure they were doing it right, and I think that's really interesting.
To speak up, a bit of confidence, and to talk to new people.
What do you think you'll say are the things that have most surprised you, or that you found most interesting so far in Takeover Day?
I'd tell them about Takeover Day because not many people are aware of what it actually is and how I found it. It's been great. In fact, I've even been given a chance to do it and working with you, and then you taking me to see like the police and the CAC team and Bernardo's and everyone telling me who you work with.
I gained a lot of team skills because they had their colleagues with them.
With me, it'll help with my future career, working with you and seeing things through your perspective, and then other people as well, like some of the issues that we've come across today. They could go back home and say, oh, this and this need dealing with, and they can get in contact with people that deal with that.
What I seen her do is, because I always thought that managers, like I said, their jobs, I'm not sure what they do and stuff like that. So obviously Takeover Day, we decided to do it so young people can also see what managers and other professional people do as a job. And the first one I did was with John Melrose. And when I did it with her, it was kind of like what we did is interview a social worker. No, I think I got the experience for working with deaf children as well, which I've never had. Like I said, I've worked with other kind of disability, but just not the deaf one. And obviously it kind of teaches you, oh, I want to learn sign language as well.
So do you think the work that you were doing this morning about gathering those views from children is important? Do you think it's part of the same thing almost as Takeover Day, about getting people's voices heard, young people's voices?
It is, because if you think about it, health is the main, you need to make sure that young people are healthy, to make sure they're attending dentists, because I know kids like sweets.
So how would you like young people to have a voice and influence decision making in the future?
Well, we've done a piece of work today around the pledge, which we've got in Bradford, and ensuring there's a number of promises in that, and we've used the viewpoint tool to try and match what we're doing to the pledge, and we've produced a report today, myself and the young person, which will hopefully influence future promises, future pledges for looked after children.
Okay, and I'll ask you again about Bradford as a city being involved in the takeover. How do you think it affects the city?
I think it's a wonderful opportunity. It's important that the youth have a view and are involved in decisions that are made, and I think Bradford's going in the right direction.
Can you remember you made some useful points that I think Hugh was going to put in it about gang culture and so on. Can you want to tell us anything more about that now?
Yeah, how it's not always seen. An adult don't see it from a child's personal point of view, so having young people to speak to and working with them does give you that insight and opinion of theirs as well.
I've been very privileged to have Miriam shadowing me today, and what's been really interesting is how her involvement in the meetings that I was in really helped formulate some of the decisions, and her feedback was really valuable.
I think young people should be part of everything and all processes that concern them and really concern living in Bradford. The young person who's been with me today has taken part in everything I've done.
And what have you gained from these guys?
I've learned a lot, because I think it's about remembering all the time that my job's about children and young people, and thinking about what their views of things should be.
They've given us some really interesting perspectives on how we involve young people and actually how we don't involve them enough, and how we can perhaps begin to develop that.
I've learned lots. I think really it's reminded me, and the young person I've been with today has reminded me about just how much young people offer, how inspirational they can be.
It's been amazing really, because I've done the same job for 5 years, and it made me reflect on how I do things and why I do things very carefully.
Because young people these days, they haven't got their self-esteem. Some of them have the confidence and self-esteem. Some of them, they feel rejected and feel like, well, all they can do in life is stay on benefits and smoke drugs all day. But we're trying to change that, because I do believe that you might have made mistakes in the past, but everybody deserves a second chance, and you shouldn't treat young people, you have to treat them the same.
How do you think how do we show young people that we are listening? How do we prove that we're listening? That we're not just bringing people in for a day and ticking a box to say we've involved somebody? How can we really show that we listen?
Get them involved and get their opinions as well. Work alongside them and give them some responsibilities as well. If you give them that little bit of control, then they'll be like, well, at least we've got that control. And step by step, we can improve and get higher to the fact that we're all in control, and you professionals just have to listen to what the young people say.
I mean, my eyes have been opened. It's been really interesting listening to you talking about some of the experiences that you've had, and also about some of the things that you're involved with, and all the different ideas and energy that you've got, and the commitment that you've had in working in the Children and Care Council, and all the different things that you've done, and the skills that you've gained from chairing that. So it's been really interesting for me to kind of get that enthusiasm and that fresh perspective from you. And you've come up with loads of different ideas about ways that Health Watch could engage with young people, and ways that we could work with you in some of your other roles. So that's been really, really positive for me.
Well, I hope there are more young people next year, and I hope there are a wider variety of opportunities for them to shadow or to take over people.
Well, we're hoping to get some of the young people that worked with us today to come back and do more with us, and to help us to set up some engagement with young people and get young people involved in developing the services the hospital provides.
And finally, as an experience of Takeover, what do you think is the best thing that you get from Takeover Day?
the experience, like knowing that you can what's happening and that adults actually do stuff, because most of the films are watching like adults not really doing stuff, and yeah.
What about you?
I think it is probably the experience and to try something completely new that you've never seen, and for like a young person to sort of shadow and like a manager's role in different areas, I think is like a great experience, because even when you get older you don't really kind of you don't always get that far, and it's nice to sort of be able to see it when you're younger as well.
And I'm always inspired by the breadth of experience that young people bring when they come into BCB. The absolute, I suppose, like you were saying, Amelia, that sometimes young people get a bad press and they're not given those opportunities. And I think it's fantastic. Young people come into BCB, they take on roles, they step up to the plate, and they really deliver. And I think it's great that we've had the opportunity here at BCB to give that experience to you two today.
And it's just nice to meet new people as well.
Are you going to carry on with Takeover like next year?
Well, definitely. I think if everybody that said they wanted to take part in Takeover Day does take part, we'll have about 10 times as many people taking part in Bradford this year as we had last year. And if I have anything to do with it, I'd like us to have 10 times as many again next year. So have 400 or 500 young people taking over 400 or 500 different roles would just be amazing. And I think that would really begin to make a difference to how some organisations make the decisions and how seriously they take the perspective of young people.